Hello everyone, my name is Scythe and welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video. This time we're going to be discussing the brand new leaked patch notes coming to the mid-season update dropping on February 21st. I'm not really sure what we're calling it, if we're calling it the mid-season update or like the season 1.5 update, but whatever it is, it's happening this Friday. But before we jump into the swing of things, I got to give a huge shout out to XOX Leak over on Twitter, guys. These guys are absolutely amazing at what they do. Every time that there's new skins getting announced, they're always on top of it with their data mining, or in this case right here, we have access to the patch notes a little bit early. Now, obviously, please bear in mind that everything here is subject to change, and it was all translated from Mandarin Chinese, so what is said here may not be perfectly accurate, but that's why I'll be diving in and explaining everything in a clear and concise manner here on the channel. So, without further ado, let's take a look at all the changes coming to the Vanguards here in the Season 1.5 update. First on the list, Venom is getting a huge buff with his ultimate ability. The overall cost of it has been reduced from 2,800 points down to 2,500 points, so Venom players are going to be able to get that ultimate up a little bit more quickly, which is always nice. However, what I think is most interesting is how they've changed the knockback with his ultimate ability. As we all know, when Venom pops his Q, it sends any opponents caught within the radius directly upwards. Well, now this knockback's been changed so that it's going to shove everyone inwards at a 75-degree angle instead of a direct vertical 90 degrees. So you're getting a little bit more effectiveness and utility when it comes to the CC with his ultimate, and I could definitely see this being used with some sort of AoE attack, maybe Maximum Pulse, for example, with Iron Man's ultimate, or something else like a Magneto ultimate. Though I'm really not sure that you want to be burning both tank ults there, but you guys get what I'm saying. Captain America is also getting some huge buffs here with the added ability of him using the shield while jumping. Now, personally, I don't think this is going to be too insane of a change, as far as I'm aware, most Captain Americas usually engage with their jump, and then they press E to throw the shield out, and then they do the slam right afterwards. But having that little bit of extra utility in his kit is never a bad thing, and I fully welcome it. As for his Vibranium Energy Saw, and I believe this is just his E ability where he throws the shield out, the projectile speed has been increased from 60 meters a second to 80 meters a second, and the ejection speed after a ricochet has increased from 100 meters per second to 150 meters per second. I don't think that change will be too insane, but it will definitely make the projectile feel a little bit more responsive, which I don't suppose is a bad thing. As for Thor, his F ability, which lets him shoot the lightning, has had a slight change. Now instantly activating the cooldown phase once you press the button. So prior to this change, you would previously press the F ability, and it would be active for 5 seconds. Then you would need to replenish your Thor Force and then wait an additional 2 seconds, but now the cooldown has been entirely removed. So once you have your 3 charges of Thor Force, you should be able to pop the ability once again. As for Groot, he got a slight buff regarding his walls, as they can now be placed up to 18 meters, up from 15. Now boys, this change right here is kind of a big one. I'm actually pretty hyped about this one as a mag player myself. So Magneto's projectile from his left click on contact normally does 35 damage, but the AoE damage on top of it does an extra 40. So a direct hit onto a target would have previously done 75 damage, but it now does 80. However, because of this change, this means that mag players can now do their left click twice, so left click, and then follow up with a fully charged mag cannon, delivering a 3-shot combo to 250 HP squishies. As for his barrier, it got slightly nerfed, being only active for 1.5 seconds now instead of the previous 2. And finally, Doctor Strange's HP got reduced from 650 down to 600. Hulk did also receive a nerf with his team up in this update, but I'll be diving into all of the team up changes towards the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. Moving on to the duelist. First up on the list, Iron Fist is seeing a slight overhaul to his kit. So he's going to be dealing less damage but having more sustain, and the overall damage of his punches has gone down across the board, alongside what I presume is a longer charge speed for his combo attack. However, in exchange for this reduced damage, Iron Fist is gaining 50 base HP for a total of 300. On top of this, his meditation ability will now recover up to 150 bonus HP from the previous 50. However, that bonus HP will begin to decay at 25 HP per second, so you'll have about 6 seconds to fully make use of that extra bonus health. He also got an extra buff to his guard, now converting up to 200 HP instead of the previous 150 limit. As for Mr. Fantastic, he got hit with some pretty heavy nerfs for whatever reason, with his E ability where he tethers being more forgiving to land and also knocking enemies away when you land the ability. However, it is now on a 10-second cooldown instead of the previous 8 seconds. His ultimate ability will also now cost 3,400 points, up 600 from the previous cost of 2,800, but in exchange for the extra cost, it now does 70 damage per slam aside from the previous 50. And forgive me if I'm wrong about this, as it wasn't made super clear in the Twitter post, but it seems his basic attack will now have damage fall off, starting at 3 meters and dealing 50 damage at 10 meters. So not a super insane change, but definitely could be noticeable in the long term. Iron Man got a pretty insane buff with his Unibeam now dealing 140 damage per second, up from the previous 120, and when he activates his armor overdrive, it now does 190 damage per second, up from the previous 180. Hawkeye's base health has been increased from 250 to 275, but his explosive arrows now deal 15 damage on contact, but their AoE damage has been increased from 25 to 32. His Crescent Slash ability is now on a 12-second cooldown, down from 15, and finally his ultimate ability has been buffed buffed with a 1.35 draw speed multiplier, giving him a roughly 15% increase in his fire rate. Storm is also getting hit pretty hard this patch. Thank God, bro. Her wind blade is getting nerfed with a 60% damage fall off at 30 meters. As for her speed and damage boost, the speed self boost is getting reduced to a 12% self boost while giving the team a 10% move speed, which is low-key insane. I honestly don't think like the allied move speed buff will be too crazy, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. As for her goddess boost, aka her E, the self damage boost has been reduced from 30% all the way down to 25%. Not really sure how much these nerfs will actually affect Storm, as she usually gets banned anyways, but I don't know. She might be played more often. She might not be as much of a threat. Only time will tell. As for Star-Lord, here on the post, they said that his ultimate cost got increased to 1,800. I was like, wait, that can't be right. So I double checked, and Star-Lord's ultimate right now costs 3,100 points, but I believe what this is in reference to is his rocket boots or his or it's like his flying ability. So the rocket boots will now take 18 seconds to recharge if this is in milliseconds here, up from the previous 12 seconds that it originally took. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more conservative with how you use your rocket propulsion, but honestly, I don't think this nerf is too bad, and I think it'll bring Star-Lord in line with the rest of the DPS. Scarlet Witch also getting a slight buff here. Her ultimate ability now gives her 100 bonus HP after she casts it, and after the ultimate ability gets interrupted or it ends, then it decays at 50 HP per second. Just gives her a little bit more survivability when she is casting that ultimate, which I guess isn't a bad thing. I mean, she does need it if I'm being honest, but like, bro, 9 times out of 10, she's either getting webbed or hooked or frozen. Just something's happening to her, bro. I don't know. I just haven't really seen that many good Scarlet Witches in my ranked games. Who knows, man? This might put her on the map, but I really don't think it'll change that much. Spider-Man got a huge buff, bro. Not really, actually. I'm reading this right here. It's his web shooters, man. His web shooters recharge time got decreased from a 3-second recharge time now to a 2.5 seconds. So I guess if you burn everything, if you use all five webs, I think it is. Yeah, if you use all 5 webs, previously it would have been a 15-second recharge time, you know, to get all of them back. But now it's only going to be 12.5 seconds. So I don't think it'll be too bad. But guys, as we all know, I said later in the video, we're going to be covering the team up. Spider-Man got a pretty insane buff with his team up ability. So did Penny Parker. But like I said, I'll cover that in a later portion of the video. Spider-Man buff's not too bad, but only time will tell if it really makes that much of a difference. So Moon Knight got fixed. Previously, his ultimate ability was doing like double the amount of damage. And I forget who exactly pointed this out on the timeline here, but either way, his ultimate ability was bugged. It is doing like double damage, but now the damage logic has been corrected, or it's like, at least that's what it said. So it now does 150 per fist, but like it also originally did 150. I don't really know how it works, man. Either way, the ultimate's been fixed now, and the projectile speed, I guess, of each fist has also been slightly reduced. I don't think it'll matter too much. I don't really know how much the reduction is going to be, but I still think the ultimate ability is going to be good. It's just not going to be as insane as it previously felt. Now on to Black Widow here. She actually has some pretty insane buffs. So first off, her sniper rifle now holds 15 rounds, up from the previous 8, but her ultimate ability Plasma Burst, the slowdown effect that it gives has now been reduced from 80% to 55. I don't really know how much that's going to change Black Widow. Honestly, she never really was good to begin with. Hopefully the ammo capacity does something good for her. I mean, obviously that's always the net win. There's apparently a new mechanic that's being introduced, and we don't really have too much information on it, but it's called Focusing Hole, or maybe it's lost in translation, but I'm not really entirely sure what Focusing Hole is. Keep an eye out for Black Widow in the meta. She could be good. We'll have more details on it soon, but for now, just keep her on her radar. Bro, Magic got nerfed, dude. I'm on it, like, thank God, bro. I don't think the nerfs are gonna be like too insane, but when I'm in the back line, dude, and I'm playing as like Luda Snow or man, like I miss my sleep, bro, and Magic's up on my ass, it's over. Like it's never been more over, dude. Her Eldritch Whirl and the Demon's Rage, their damage has been decreased from 45 to 40 and 80 damage per second to 72 with the Demon. In exchange for that, her ultimate cost has also been reduced by 300 points down to 3,400. I don't think it's the end of the world, right? She still has really good combos. You know, he can do her E left click melee cancel, all that bullshit. I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. I think these changes are fine. As for Hela, now this one says unsure, but Soul Drainer, I believe that's her left click. The damage fall off at 30 meters has now gone up from 70% to 80%, so she's just getting nerfed more, which is totally fine. I think Hela's really good character still, even after her nerfs that she received at the start of season 1, but only time will really tell. I hope that these changes, though, get reverted after the seasonal team up damage boost goes away, because I think Hela is going to be in a really bad spot. Same with Magic, actually, once that 15% damage boost goes away. Finally, for the supports. Now, right now, as we all know, the support meta is crazy. They have some of the strongest ultimates in the game, and they basically dictate how team fights are won and lost. The biggest one here, of course, being Cloak and Dagger. Her ultimate cost has now been increased from 3,400 up to 4,000. And on top of that, the carpet, the dash lanes, whatever you want to call it, the duration of each carpet only lasts for 8 seconds now, and they can no longer stack. Only one lane will work at a time, so it's better to kind of spread your dashes all across the point instead of just concentrating it on, say, the back line or on the front line, wherever you want to put them down, you know? On top of that, her ultimate has also been changed so that the pause in between each dash is now 0.67 seconds instead of a full 1 second, which I think is fine. And Cloak's Terror Cape vulnerability now does a 28% damage increase, up from the previous 20. As for Adam's primary fire, his damage has been increased up from 55 to 60, with a 60% damage fall off at 40 meters now. So at range, his left click isn't going to be as good, but on top of this, his Soul Bond has also been buffed, giving him and his allies 15 healing per second instead of the previous 10 per second. I don't really think this is going to be too much of a change, but we'll have to wait and see with all these support ultimates getting nerfed now, which, surprise, surprise, guys. Ludosno's ultimate cost has now gone up by 500 points, costing 4,500. Loki's has also gone up from 3,400 to 4,000. Loki is receiving a magazine increase up to 12 rounds instead of the previous 10 that he held. Mantis's ultimate now only gives you 75 bonus shield, and Invisible Woman's ultimate now costs 4,300 points instead of the previous 4,000. Maybe, bro, maybe we're leaving the triple support meta. I really hope it is, because I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the most boring metas that we've played in this game so far. I mean, before at the start we had the double shield backline poke meta with hella Hawkeye, and now we're in this triple support meta where we're running Loki, Invisible Woman, Cloak and Dagger, Luna, all that, right? And it's just kind of crazy, man. Like, nothing was dying. So I think these changes will be really healthy for the game, but only time will tell, like I said. But as long as things can just start dying, I think this is a net win. Now, boys, finally onto the team ups, starting off with the Gamma team up between Hulk and Iron Man. Hulk is getting his seasonal team up anchor HP boost reduced from 150 to 100, and Iron Man is actually getting his Unibeam damage nerfed. So I'm assuming it go down to like maybe 210, maybe 200 damage per second, down from the previous 220, but it actually isn't mentioned here in this post. Psylocke, Magic, and Black Panther's team up has also been changed somewhat, with the teleport time being reduced from a 5-second TP to a 3-second TP. And on top of this, you're going to gain 80% more bonus HP instead of the previous 50%. As for the Cloak and Dagger and Moon Knight team up, new 25 per second healing effect, I think. The only thing I can assume here is that, you know, when Moon Knight pops his team up ability and he's inside that little invisible dome, he just gets healing, which I guess is pretty nice. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I never thought that the invisible dome was really anything special, because it's like, oh, I just look to see where the crescents are coming up from and I just spam it, or I just spam the dome. It never really did anything super insane, so maybe just giving Moon Knight the ability to heal himself with this team up, it isn't too bad. Now, boys, right here, the symbiotic bond. Bruh, this thing, bro, this team up Spider-Bra is getting a huge buff here. So as we all know, when you originally popped your symbiote bond with either Spider-Man or Penny Parker, you got a 50% damage reduction. That is now gone. Instead, you now have complete invincibility for 1 second. So instead of having that 50% damage reduction over 4 seconds, you now have complete iframes, which I think is absolutely insane. So it's going to make that Venom Spider-Man team up and that dive a lot more lethal, especially if, you know, Spider-Man can get out, do his full combo, pop C, be completely invincible for any like cooldowns, say Bucky Hook, or I mean, I don't even know, whatever he can get blown up by, really, right? The fact that he has that invincibility instead of that half damage reduction is absolutely insane. On Penny, I don't think it's going to matter too much, considering she's a very mobile tank and she has that Nest plan. She can automatically regenerate her HP anyways, but it's giving her a little bit more sustain, which is always good. Overall, a really good buff to the team up ability. Sad to see it going in the next 45 days, something like that. I don't know, whenever the season ends. Allegedly, we're supposed to be getting new team ups in place. For now, Spider-Man mains are eating. And now for the team up between Luna Snow and Iron Fist, Frozen Cheese healing output has now been increased from 50 to 75, and the enemy slow effect, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know it slowed. The slow effect has now been increased from 20 to 30%. But that was every balance change leaked in the upcoming Marvel Rivals patch. Guys, let me know, what do you think? Do you think these changes are going to shake up the meta, or do you think things are mostly going to stay the same? As always, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on, as we are uploading and streaming Marvel Rivals here on the YouTube channel every day. So if you guys want to see some high-level Celestial Grandmaster gameplay on the channel, then you are in fact in the right place. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.